I never thought a hospital visit would turn into a full-blown circus. One moment I was bringing coffee for my sister after her knee surgery. Next thing I knew, I was being accused of assault in the middle of a hospital hallway. Because of a wheelchair. Yeah, a wheelchair. And it wasn't even about the chair. It was about a woman named Julie who turned a simple piece of medical equipment into a stage for her own twisted performance. The smell of disinfectant and burnt coffee still sticks in my memory. I was balancing 2 cups walking down that sterile, overlit corridor toward my sister Maya's room. She'd had surgery the day before and we were waiting for her discharge papers. It should have been a quiet Friday morning, but then I heard a voice so sharp and entitled it could slice through the air. "Excuse me, that wheelchair isn't yours." I froze. That tone, pure venom. When I turned the corner, it was like walking straight into a drama I hadn't auditioned for. A blonde woman in a tight green dress stood in the middle of the hallway waving her manicured hands around like she was directing an orchestra. Gold jewelry clinked with every exaggerated gesture. Across from her, Maya sat in her wheelchair, pale and confused, clutching her discharge papers. "You're using hospital property without authorization," the woman snapped. "My mother's been waiting for over an hour and you're just sitting there like you own the place." Maya blinked, trying to stay polite. "This was assigned to my room. I'm waiting for transport." "I don't need to ask anyone," the woman barked. "You don't look disabled to me." That was it. My patience snapped like a dry twig. I walked up, voice tight. "Hey, back off. My sister just had surgery. You can ask the nurses." She turned to me, eyes narrowing. "Don't tell me what to do. You people think you can hog everything? Look at her, she's fine. She's got makeup on." Maya stammered. "It's just lip balm. Lipstick. Lip balm, whatever. You're faking it for attention." People started watching. Nurses pretended to shuffle papers, but I could feel their eyes on us. And then she lunged, just grabbed the handles of the wheelchair and tried to pull it away. Maya gasped in pain. My coffee hit the floor, splattering everywhere. "Let go!" I yelled, grabbing the chair before she could pull it back. Her bracelets jingled as she yanked harder. "Help!" Maya cried. A nurse finally rushed over. "Ma'am, stop right now." But instead of stopping, Julie, yeah, that's her name, I'd find out later, threw herself backward and screamed. He pushed me. He assaulted me. The hallway froze. Everyone's eyes snapped to me. She clutched her shoulder dramatically. "You saw that, right? He attacked me." "What are you talking about?" I said. "You grabbed the wheelchair." But her sobbing drowned me out. People peered from doorways, whispering. I could see a security guard approaching, radio in hand. Julie's performance was flawless. She demanded our names, threatened to have us banned, shouted about justice. When she finally stormed off, the hallway felt like it had been hit by a storm. Maya was trembling. The nurse checked her bandages and muttered, "She's been here before. Always something dramatic." I frowned. She said her mother was waiting. The nurse sighed. "She came alone this morning." Alone. So she'd lied. That night I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her fake tears and that smug face as she called me an attacker. The humiliation burned. She'd turned me into a villain in front of everyone. For the first time in a long while, I felt small, helpless. A part of me wanted to forget it, just take Maya home and move on. But then another thought crept in: if I didn't stop her, she'd do it again to someone else. By morning, my anger had hardened into resolve. I went back to the hospital, straight to the security office. The man behind the desk looked skeptical when I explained what happened. "We don't usually share footage with visitors," he said. "I'm not asking for a copy," I told him. "Just look at it. She made a false report. That footage will prove it." He studied me, then sighed. "Wait here." I waited, pacing, heart pounding. Finally, he called me in. The room glowed with the light of a dozen screens. He rewound one camera to yesterday afternoon. About 3:40, right. And there it was. Me, Maya, in her wheelchair, Julie in her green dress. I watched from this cold God's eye angle as she grabbed the chair as I reached to stop her as she threw herself to the ground. She'd planned the whole thing. The guard leaned forward. "Looks like she's performing for the camera." I let out a shaky laugh. "Exactly." He nodded. I'll forward this to administration. You might get called for a statement. Thank you, I said. Then paused. Can you check cafeteria footage around Four Hosers? I saw her walking there like nothing happened. He smirked. Oh, I remember her. Caused a scene last week about parking rights. He pulled up the next feed. There she was, Julie, walking perfectly fine, laughing at her phone, soda in hand. No limp, no pain. My pulse raced. That's her. He nodded. Guess you caught yourself a fraud. Later I showed the clip from my phone to Leah, the nurse manager, a sharp, no-nonsense woman. She watched Julie strutting through the hallway, her expression darkening. I knew it, she muttered. That woman's been faking injuries, demanding free meds, filing fake complaints. But you, she looked at me, you just gave us the proof we needed. By the time Maya's discharge papers were ready, security had already circulated the footage. When I went back upstairs, 2 guards were whispering near the nurse's desk, holding a printed still of Julie's face. She's in the lobby again, one said, screaming that she was attacked. Of course she was. I followed them quietly. Julie stood at the front desk yelling at the receptionist. I was assaulted by that man and his fake disabled sister. You people did nothing. I'm suing this hospital. The poor receptionist tried to calm her down, but Julie's voice only got louder. Then one of the guards stepped forward with a tablet. Ma'am, before we proceed, he said, we'd like to review some footage with you. She crossed her arms. Good. Finally, someone's taking this seriously. They led her into a side room with glass walls. I stayed outside watching the reflection on the glass. Leah stood next to the guard as the video started. Within seconds, Julie's face changed. On the screen, she could be seen grabbing the wheelchair, yelling, pretending to fall. Then cut to the cafeteria, her walking normally. That's not me, she stammered. It's you, Leah said flatly. Same dress, same jewelry, time-stamped 15 minutes apart. This is illegal. You can't record me without permission, Julie yelled. This is a hospital, Leah said calmly. Cameras are for safety, and they just saved you from being charged with assault. Julie's hands trembled. Then she tried again, softer this time. I just needed help. My mother's sick. Leah didn't even blink. You came here alone, Julie. That was the moment her mask cracked. Fine, she snapped. I'll post everything online. I'll ruin your reputation. Go ahead, Leah said. We'll send you the footage for reference. Julie's face went pale. The staff and patients who'd gathered outside stared silently as she stormed out, only to find 2 security officers and a hospital administrator waiting by the exit. Ma'am, the administrator said, you're being issued a trespass notice. You're not allowed back without authorization. You can't do that. We just did. She snatched the paper, crumpled it, threw it on the floor, and stormed out. Watching her walk away, I felt relief, but not peace. People like her didn't stop. They waited for the next victim. 2 days later, I came back to pick up Maya's follow-up report. She was home by then, healing well, teasing me for turning into a detective brother. But as I turned toward the exit, I heard it again, that voice. You've got to be kidding me. Julie. She was back. Sunglasses on beige coat, same arrogance. She was berating a volunteer at the front desk. I have an appointment. They told me to come back for paperwork. Are you really going to deny me medical access? The young volunteer looked terrified. Ma'am, I'm not authorized to. Then get someone who is. My pulse quickened. I could have walked away, but no, not again. I stepped closer, still pretending to be injured Julie. Her head whipped around. You again? Didn't you get banned from here? She sneered. You think you're so clever. You humiliated me with your little video trick, but you don't know who you're dealing with. The nurses nearby started watching silent. Julie, I said evenly, you should leave before security comes. Oh, they'll come, she spat. And when they do, I'll tell them you're stalking me, you and your faker sister. That one hit deep, but I stayed calm. You're walking into deeper trouble than you realize. And then, like divine timing, Leah appeared composed as ever. Julie, she said, voice firm, you were told not to return. You're violating a legal notice. I have every right to be here, Julie shouted. "I'm filing a complaint." "Then you can file it from the police station," Laya replied, "because you're not taking another step inside." Julie's tone cracked. "You can't ban me from medical help." "You're not here for help," Laya said quietly. "You're here for attention." Footsteps echoed. 2 guards and the same police officer from before entered the lobby. "Ma'am," the officer said, "we have you on camera trespassing yesterday as well, and following this man and his sister to the parking lot. That's harassment." "That's not true," Julie gasped. "We have timestamps," Laya said. Julie's voice broke. "You can't prove. We already have." The officer cut her off. "Please stand up." The guards approached. Julie shrieked, "Don't touch me. I'll sue all of you." Patients and nurses had stopped what they were doing. The same hallway where she'd played the victim was now a stage for her downfall. "You don't know what I've been through," she screamed. Laya's voice stayed steady. "Help isn't what you came for." Julie's knees gave out. She collapsed into one of the blue chairs by the wall, the same kind she'd tried to steal days before. The officer read her rights as she mumbled denials. One guard opened her purse and found several cut-off patient wristbands and fake parking passes. "She's been faking injuries at multiple hospitals," the officer said. "Collecting freebies, filing claims. You weren't her first target." Julie looked up at me, eyes wet but still defiant. "You think you've won, people forget." "Not when there's video evidence," I said quietly. The guards lifted her up and walked her out. Sunlight reflected off the glass doors as they closed behind her, her warped reflection disappearing like a stain being wiped clean. For the first time in days, the lobby was silent. Still. Laya turned to me. "I suppose that's closure." "More like confirmation," I said. "That karma doesn't need an appointment." She smiled faintly. "You should write that down." Later that day, Maya showed me a local news headline. "Hospital scammer caught on camera after false accusation." She laughed. "Guess she's famous now." "Not the kind of fame anyone wants," I said. A few days later, Laya texted me a short clip from the security feed. Julie being escorted out, her reflection flickering on the glass. Beneath it, a single caption. "For training purposes." I watched it twice and smiled. Justice didn't always roar, it recorded quietly, time-stamped, undeniable. And that's when it hit me, sometimes the truth doesn't shout. It just waits for the right camera angle.